part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. Ooh, it's still our Halloween month. God, I love being cringe. We're deep in October at this point. This episode will be our third podcast episode of October. We're still watching the scary Marvel movies. And you know what? Due to scheduling conflicts, we're going to take a break from Blade, and we're going to just put right in the middle of our Blade coverage a little thing. This is the Jared Leto vehicle. We are, of course, talking about Morbius, a.k.a. Lesbius. I don't want more. I want less. This is a different kind of vampire. Is he a vampire? I don't know. This movie is wild. 2022. I couldn't believe this came out last year. How did we miss it? Joining me today are two complete dang ass freaks, if you ask me. I just wanted on the record, these people volunteered for this movie. Both of you in my email were like, oh my God. I was
enthusiastic. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, you were. Well, let's start. So our first guest, first time on the pod, welcoming to the podcast 616 universe. They are an actor, comedian, writer, local to Los Angeles. Please welcome to your ears, Katie Nathan.
Thanks for having me. I have so many thoughts.
I would love to hear them, especially from someone who wanted to be here. Our producer Michael is furious at me once again. Producer Michael said he would rather watch all the Fantastic Four movies instead of watching this. And if true fans remember, Michael left the podcast for a while when we were doing Fantastic Four. Our second guest here for the third time. You've heard her on Iron Man 2 and Secret Invasion. And now she's back for another banger. Please welcome who officially soon to be Beyonce because she's a vocal coach, Phylicia McLeod. Phylicia, hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Was that a little musical hello? Just
I tried to say hi, yeah. Yeah, so they can have like these
one
cuts.
Vocal lesson, ladies and gentlemen. She is out here.
I walked in the classroom and I said, "Where's my outfits?" Yeah, I must change.
At first, I thought you said, "Where's my office?" Every good vocal superstar has their own office.
Oh, I believe it. They gotta get work done.
It better be by the window. Yeah.
Better be by the window. I don't want to focus. So I came to daydream. All right. Oh my God. We can't avoid this any longer. You guys, we watched Morbius. I want to go to Katie Nathan, first time on the podcast, please. What did you think this was going to be?
I have to tell you, I mean, you sent out a list of movies to choose from, and all of them, except for Morbius, were just, straight movie title. And then there was Morbius, and it was like the worst movie ever. I'm sorry I'm including this. And I just can't not want to know what it is. So I did hear through the grapevine that I thought it was going to be more boring than it was. It was a straight up mess. And I have so many things to share about it, but it was not as boring as I thought it would be. Also, I will say, so I watched this last night. It's Saturday morning. If you've never had the experience of telling your friends you can't go out with them on Friday night because you have to stay in and watch Morbius, I don't recommend it.
Gorgeous. And I will agree, it's not boring, because I think there are some movies that are bad because they're boring.
Yes.
And no one will believe this, but this was my second watch of Morbius, and flies by on the second watch.
It moved quickly. It has a hate watch vibe. If there's something that you can get into and just oh my God, this is so fucking bad. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Phylicia McLeod, better or worse than Secret Invasion?
I'm going to say better just because I got a little bit more time. Secret Invasion was 6 hours?
Essentially, yeah.
But this was 6 hours as well. At least it felt like it.
It takes 6 hours to get through Morbius.
I think it's just because there would be times where Jared Leto would be talking and for some reason, my whole brain would just be smooth. It would shut off. And then I would be looking at the TV and then I'd be like, wait, what happened? So I'd have to rewind it, and then like my brain would shut off at that same exact moment and then reconnect at the same moment and be like, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch this scene. So I would just skip right past.
Well, it feels like they had one of those magnet sets that's on the refrigerator with all the different words and they're just pulling out words. Like it all the words sound like they should be there, but together they don't make any sense.
They made no sense. Yeah. Especially during like echolocation information. I was like, I want to know about this, but I can't learn this way.
Also, I love the idea of going into Morbius, like, I'm going to learn a few things.
I want to learn about
And now
bats.
I'm in class. Yeah.
Well, class is in session. Let's begin at the top, the tippity top of this movie. Gorgeous credit sequence. It betrays the idea that this is going to be a good movie.
The colors were beautiful. I was like, this is going to be good.
End credits too, I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And then we open up on Cerro de la Muerte, Costa Rica.
I felt it.
Can you feel it? You know, just put us in a place, put us in a setting
But
the
also
table.
put the title of it there, just in case we don't feel the
If you're not seeing it and visually knowing what this is, we're going to go ahead and let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a theme in this movie. If you don't feel it, we will tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah,
And that's what I
to feel.
need with this kind of movie. Yeah.
We open on Dr. Michael Morbius. He's a doctor. As someone asks, are you a doctor? And he's like, yeah, I'm a doctor. Beautiful bit of exposition.
I wrote that down. I am a doctor. And I said, this is going to be good.
Katie, Nathan, we do producer Michael does research on all of our guests, and we actually found out that you were actually on this expedition with Dr. Michael Morbius.
I was trying to bury it, but yeah, you uncovered it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, what did you think when he slit his hand open and put it up against that little electric wall and had the bats come flying? Were you worried that you wouldn't get your money back?
I mean, already I was like, how can I leave my own home to avoid what's happening now?
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about this scene with the bats. Did you get that we were going to go to vampires?
I did not. I mean, maybe this is a dumb statement, but he is a Batman.
Thank you. Literally in the 2005 Batman movie with Christopher Nolan, Batman Begins, they do the same shit where bats fly around him.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And also, the bats don't do anything. They just they literally fly around him, and he's just like, I'm healed.
Just taking in their energy.
Yeah.
Community. Yeah.
Community. It's like,
It's important.
but yeah, he literally is a Batman.
He's the
He has-
Batman.
He has the powers of a bat.
Yeah.
Do they think we're stupid?
Yes. Yes, they do.
And the answer is also yes. Yes, we are.
Yes.
So we see these bats flying at Morbius, and then of course we naturally and organically flash back 25 years ago to Greece. Now we're at this, like, what is this? A halfway house, orphanage, hospital, school for
They never
disadvantaged
said.
youth?
Abandon your disabled children here.
Yes, but in order to not get called out, Morbius has this great thing of like, oh, these two, they have a disease that we don't even know what it is. We're not even gonna specify in any way. Phylicia McLeod, we also did research on you. You were actually a nurse at this hospital 25 years ago.
Yes.
You look great.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell us, what was it like working with Morbius and Lucian as young kids?
It was nice. I was never allowed to read their charts, so I as well don't know what was going on. But they were just like so kind, great children. I felt so bad that we had our orphanage right next door to a school, and we made sure we had them right by the window. The people who were picked on the most, we said, put them by the window facing towards the school.
We can't.
That was my idea.
Let's collect several dozen devil children and invite them to attend this school.
That's before I worked at the school, and I said, who are the worst children? Had their class there, worked at the orphanage, made sure they were by the window. I really wanted to. My life was in shambles, and I said something else should be
Let's
too.
spread some of this around.
Clearly, I mean, that's what a gig economy. So many jobs.
Bouncing back to back. I never got paid. Yeah.
That's my favorite bit is like these mean kids outside. Freaks. Oh, are you sick? You freak.
Like, truly, are we still doing this? I mean, what is this society?
It's not a nice one. There's no kindness.
There's not a piece of kindness in this movie. Oh, except for the little mouse. But I guess we'll get to that later.
That was very tender.
Yeah.
The vampire mouse.
Yeah, I loved him. He had a little vest on.
He was really sweet. I wanted to see that movie spin-off.
Yeah. Stuart Little as a vampire.
Can we please follow the mouse, please?
That is what we should have been doing. That mouse.
That mouse. That story. This time. Katie Nathan, can you explain to me why, when this young boy who said, "My name's Lucian," and then this boy Michael's like, "I'm going to call you Milo."
Milo.
Why does he just accept that? I know you know.
I mean, his Lucian sounds like Satan, like Lucifer.
Lucifer.
I mean, it's a terrible name. I think I would take Milo over Lucian, especially if you're getting bullied your entire life. Maybe Milo is a better name for you. Also, is it just that like there was one kid named Milo next to him years ago, and so now every time there's been another kid in the bed next to him, he's just like, well, I met one kid, his name was Milo, I'm not learning any more names, everyone moving forward will be Milo? Is that what we're meant to
That's what we're meant to believe, which leads to the bigger issue. Morbius sucks.
Right?
Like, Michael Morbius is not a good person.
Like as a child, like, no, thanks for telling me your name, you're Milo now.
What really threw me is not only did he then call him Milo, then everyone just started calling him Milo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how does this man feel about, or this boy, I guess, feel about no one giving a fuck who you really are? And they're just like, you're Milo.
And he's so, I mean, I guess that speaks to how sad Milo is, because he's like, oh, please, another name. oh, yay, I'm in on the joke for once. It's like fully Neville Longbottom. And so, there's this moment where Milo's life-saving machine goes faulty, and Morbius fixes it with a pen. And then later the doctor's like, these machines break all the time and you fix it with a pen. So I'm like, have all the other Milos just been killed?
And why didn't y'all fix the machine?
Why are these machines breaking all the time?
For this disease we don't know about.
On the day he meets Milo, he's sent away. And I'm like, how are they lifelong friends?
How are they best friends for life?
I don't get
You
it.
met once. Yeah. You met once. You had maybe 3 days together.
Are we meant to believe that they are the only two people with this rare blood disorder?
Yes, I believe so. Because anyone else immediately hates them. And then I guess this was a precursor to Milo turning into the villain in this movie, but like he like smacks the kid in the face with his crutch.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm like, good. These are bad kids.
Yeah. Like that didn't even strike me as like a villainy moment, because I was like, no, more of this. Like, please, this child that's kicking the shit out of you.
I'll say this. For the first part of this movie, the first time I watched this movie, I was very stoned, which is the only way to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I truly thought the kid version who smacked the kid with his crutch, I thought that was Morbius, and I thought the other one was
me too
growing up to be Matt Smith.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize, so I had a completely different read for half of this movie the first time I watched it.
I had the same experience. Like the read from the kids was flipped for me. And then it took me a second. I don't think it took me quite as long as you. It sounds like it took you half the movie to realize it was it took me a second to like realize the adults were not who I thought they were.
Yeah.
But yes.
So, okay. Last call on the kids section of this movie, because we're going to rush into adulthood.
Fly through.
I wish we had spent more time with the kids, but we can't. We have to cut to Jared Leto. Fully just Jared Leto. There's no teen. It's just kid to Jared Leto.
So how I want my life to be. Yeah.
Yeah. We cut to Sweden. Or I'm sorry, he's getting an award from the King of Sweden, who is I guess I've never been to the Nobel Prize.
Well, he's getting the
Awards.
Nobel Prize. Yeah.
I've been, yeah.
Okay, Phylicia, you've been to the Nobel Prize Awards?
Yes.
Oh my
For
God.
her career in nursing.
Specifically in Sweden. Yeah, I was in Sweden.
Makes sense. Okay, so tell us about what is it like when the king presents you an award, or did you win? Did you even win?
When I won, I went to him. So I understand Morbius being like, I'm not gonna get up and come and get this award. You should bring it to me. Like, that makes so much sense. But also it's just like, read the room. Why would that even happen? And then he's so like above everything. He's like, I didn't accept the award.
Why would you fly to Sweden to not accept it? Like, why wouldn't you just email and say, I don't, because it sounds like he didn't think his work was up to the level that deserved the Nobel Prize. Fine. He's not like making a political stance. There's no reason to get in a tux and be on that stage to just say, no, thank you. Like, why?
See, this is what everyone came for Katherine Heigl for. I bet you didn't think I would find a Grey's Anatomy reference, but here we are. Just remember, after the fourth season, Katherine Heigl was like, I don't want to be
considered for an Emmy.
Yeah. And everyone was like, oh, she's so terrible. She's so awful. Would we rather this? That she goes to the Emmys and
then just sits in her dang seat and doesn't get up to accept an award?
Can you believe he's not even a vampire yet in this movie?
It feels like it's already been years. I mean, it has in the context of the movie, but also the amount of time. I paused it at one point and I was like, wow, really, 17 minutes have gone by. That's all.
Feels like years. So he rejects the Nobel Peace Prize, which again, is this our hero?
Not Peace Prize.
Like oh, wait, what was it?
I think it was probably a Nobel Prize in Science, right?
Oh, he's not a symbol of peace?
Oh, and that's where I messed up. I was at the peace one. So that's why I didn't see.
I think we go to everyone's favorite mouse. I think this is when we meet the mouse.
Yes. Well, Martine is going to come in and like reveal that this man who, I just want to say, just a quick question. This man has trouble getting around. He walks with canes.
Yes.
How are we meant to believe he has gathered all of these bats?
I mean, well, he had that team with him.
Oh, of course, the team.
I think they were just like, jumping around, clapping at bats, trying to grab them. And he was just like, that one over there. There's bats over here.
He could have just like wiped his blood into, I'm guessing they'd go into like some type of container or some type of like,
I guess,
vault, I guess. So maybe he like just wiped his blood in the vault and the bats were like to the
like flies to honey.
Because what's in his blood? That's this
a disease.
Okay.
An unknowable disease.
Yummy.
Okay. I should have stole those charts.
Katie Nathan, you actually were the lab assistant for Martine. What's she like? She seems very susceptible to vampires.
Yeah. Having known her, she clearly has no backstory. She was born as a 28-year-old beautiful doctor. Great very, braid. Very kind. She loves to wear tank tops. An incredible doctor. And, she has Morbius's number. Like, she's on his shit. She gets it. They are on the same level, which is why they have that connection.
Oh my gosh.
That was beautiful.
And what a connection. And by connection for me, I mean burden for her. Because it really does feel like she's like shackled to this man, unfortunately. So we meet adult. What do we prefer, Milo or Lucian?
I think Milo for me, but
I think we should bounce back and forth like they did in the movie.
Like they did in the movie, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we meet adult Milo and older. His name's Jared Harris. I forget what his
not that much
was.
Older though, right? Like they didn't even do much makeup.
I think his hairline was back more, so he lost, time. Time affected him
via hair.
But they're still sickly with no hope in sight, and we basically meet Matt Smith. Now, listeners of this podcast know I love Doctor Who. So I was very excited. Matt Smith, basically this movie for me is Matt Smith becoming the version of the Doctor he plays on the TV show Doctor Who. which is interesting because he's a villain, and in that show he's a hero. So what is acting? So wait, Milo funds.
He's a very
okay,
wealthy man.
very wealthy man, correct? And he funds this adventure out at sea so they can do research on the
Well,
ocean.
if we're going to be specific, per the text on the screen, international waters.
And thank you for keeping us honest. Thank you for keeping us correct.
Off the coast of country unknown.
International.
International.
Completely international.
They said they couldn't do that procedure anywhere else but international waters.
It's too risky. It's unethical.
Would y'all
Go to the sea.
Would y'all go to international waters to watch a procedure?
How much am I being paid?
Free.
Will Morbius be there?
Yes.
Then absolutely not.
Fair.
Can I ask really quickly? I mean, Matt Smith
yes.
is a pretty attractive man, and I understand the challenges that come with like dating someone with a disability. I mean, I don't personally, but I understand that maybe that sounds like it could be challenging. Are we meant to believe? And he also has a lot of money. Are we meant to believe that like it's impossible for him to find love or friendship, like just because he walks with two canes?
Well, he's also a freak. There's that factor because this is a world where people are mean forever. And no one has any empathy or compassion.
Did they ever say what he did for work? Like how he got this money?
I think wealthy family. That's what I took from it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's how they were able to afford to put him in that orphanage hospital place.
That's how they are able to afford to abandon their child and forget that he ever existed.
Takes a lot of money to forget a kid.
That's the truth. Yeah.
I know the truth. Okay, guys, I don't know. There's no other easy way to say this, but Morbius becomes a vampire. And this is the inciting incident of a film. People who love writing screenplays should take note. This is the turning point of the script where like the action begins. And it's, how do we feel that the turning point of this movie, the inciting incident, is our hero killing everyone? And we're supposed to root for him now.
There was a moment though, because when he turned and then they sound the alarm, so they had like the red lights flashing in the alarm. Like he was affected, like the Beyonce. He was affected by that, by the sounds as a bat vampire man.
Batman.
So if they would have just turned off the alarm, I think he probably would have been calm in that space.
Well, also there's a scene later where the cops basically say, these are mercenaries. So like, you're helping us out. Like, thanks for, he left Martine unconscious, but alive.
Yes.
And he just killed, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 mercenaries who like nameless mercenaries. We can live without them.
Yeah. And there is that one scene when one of the mercenaries is being mean to Martine of like,
yes. Are you a nurse?
That was...
He's got to go.
Phylicia, how did you feel as a nurse? Did that hurt you?
As a nurse, I cried. As a woman who is a nurse, it really hurt me. It really affected me in a way. But I didn't have a braid, so I feel like no one would pop off like that.
That high braid.
Yeah.
I was admiring that.
It
came a couple times in the movies. They gave her that high braid.
Yeah, on international waters too.
Well, I mean, you can do anything there.
That's true.
There was a scene also later where they justified killing. It's like they're coming out of a bar and these guys skipped out of their bar tab. And because they skipped out of their bar tab, we are justifying killing them.
Yeah, you can chomp bad people. That's okay. You can just chomp down on them.
Yeah.
And I know it's a vampire movie. I know it's... I would love to debate whether this is a superhero movie. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But what I can't believe, even though he's a vampire, apparently we're led to believe that after he kills the mercenaries, he jumps overboard in international waters and swims back to New York. He just swims all the way back home.
He had that thing where he could like, I'm not even sure what it was. Exactly. Where he could like turn into dust.
Yeah.
Did he know that yet?
He didn't know that until the subway scene.
He didn't know that. So he's just swam.
He just swam. He was like, I know how to kick my legs, and just like a duck goes all the way back to New York.
And the water was choppy. So he needs to
Infamously
teach
choppy.
swimming classes. Like,
Essentially, he calls Mayday. He says, I need an airlift for Martine, but no problem. I'll swim back.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And like his bloodlust was, that's the thing with him. It's like there's real blood, which makes him crazy. And then there's blue blood, which is like synthetic blood that he's like just satiates him.
Well, wait. I mean, if we're saying blue blood, we should make sure to mention that real blood is called the red.
The red.
When he's like, did you get a taste of the red?
Ugh.
Hated that choice.
I'm so upset. But you know what choice I didn't hate?
Ooh.
Tyrese.
I wrote Tyrese is up in here. And he looked good.
He looked good.
Great.
Can't say he did a damn thing for anybody.
But it felt like seeing a good friend at a party you don't want to be at. You're like, you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yes. And his an Al Madrigal as his these are FBI agents.
Yeah.
And his co-agent is Al Madrigal, who I think is quippy, but like there's nothing really to quip about.
Yeah.
Like, I want to jump ahead. This is like at the end where like they're chasing Martine, and Martine like goes into this convenience store. She speaks Spanish to the person at the counter. Yeah. Goes out. Then Al Madrigal's like, "Did you see a woman?" And the guy's like, "No." And Al's like, "Yeah, right." And then he just goes exactly where she went. I'm like, did we delay them in any way?
Well, at one point in that chase scene, he says to someone else, he says to someone else, "Have you seen a woman in jeans?"
He did that.
And I was like, a woman in jeans?
And they're like, haven't seen one in years. Yeah. What?
Lights a cigarette. Haven't seen one
But
in
then
years.
they did cut to a wide shot and everyone was in khakis. There was no one else in jeans.
Al knows how to scan. Wait, Phylicia, what were we going to ask?
I think I was still shook on the jeans. I think I didn't notice that part.
That's very fair. So Morbius is currently swimming to New York. And you know what? It takes a long time to swim from international waters back to New York. So we're going to honor that. And we're going to take a break. The podcast is going to head into our commercial break. So just imagine Morbius swimming. And that's how long it takes for him to get back to New York. When we come back, we'll talk about Act 2 of Morbius. I honestly feel like we talked about everything, but no. We got to wait for Matt Smith to become a vampire as well. Let's keep it right here. Podcast 616. We'll be right back to talk more about Morbius. We'll be right back.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
Welcome everyone to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, and I am inviting you to listen and subscribe to this Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. On Podcast 616, we gather some of today's greatest comedians, writers, and actors to dive deep into all things Marvel, like comic book history and lore, all the interconnected superhero storylines, and of course, who's hot and who's not in the MCU. Honestly, why aren't you listening right now? You have the power to listen to Podcast 616. And as we always say, with great power comes even greater responsibility. Listen and subscribe to Podcast 616 wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Katie, what were you saying?
Well, you said, we're talking about Batman. He's Batman. This is Batman.
This is it.
This
Like,
is Batman.
Did
I
they
will
think it
say it
would
until
lean?
someone changes the movie. This is
Right.
Batman. Sorry, what were you saying?
Did they think we were gonna like lean into thinking he's a vampire? Like you said, even interacting with the bats, it'd be different if they just like maybe had a scene or two where they hung out. I mean, where they got to know each other.
Fully one.
yeah,
He and these bats.
he is one of them now. Also, is this movie a superhero movie? I say no. Katie, I didn't ask you about your Marvel history. Are you into it? Do you normally watch the superhero
I do.
genres?
I am not someone who watches all of them. I have certain properties I really love. I love Captain America. I
Morbius.
love WandaVision. I love Black Panther. So I'm
And
like
Morbius?
a pick and choose. And Morbius, obviously.
Yeah.
Has been
Canon.
added to the list.
Canon. My husband, actually, though, growing up was like a huge Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, so is Morbius like? I mean, he's from that universe. And Jamie was like, I read Spider-Man 7 or 8 years consistent. I don't remember this character. Where did they pluck him from?
I love this. This is yes. Okay. So this is technically in the Spider-Man universe because every time they picked up a newspaper, it was the Daily Bugle, and that's the paper that Peter Parker works for. So he's somewhere. For some reason, he just doesn't care about this. And I'm not too familiar with the Sony pictures, but I think this is the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And I don't know. I remember from the 90s cartoon, the Spider-Man 90s cartoon, like for some reason, Spider-Man is the gateway to Blade and to Morbius and to vampires. I think just because Spider-Man got bit by a spider. So there's like, I think it's like, the bite gives you powers. So there's
What
some
else
kind
can
of.
we do with bites?
Exactly. If you got bit, you're tied to Spider-Man.
We
Wait,
should
what'd
have
you say?
other things bite people.
No, just spiders and bats. And so, like, I do remember the Morbius character from the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s, but I feel like he was some kind of Russian. I just remember he was into a woman named Phylicia, and he just would say, Phylicia.
Oh.
Okay, that's why I was so attached, huh?
Did he have like the Transylvanian vampire voice?
I think so. Now that you say it, I think it was
I
like,
would have rather Jared. I mean, if you're gonna go for it, like give Jared Leto that voice. We all loved his work in House of Gucci. Obviously, he's a talented voice actor.
not the House of Gucci.
Let him
Not here.
shine. Let him pop off.
House of Gucci. Morbius, please. Okay, so we're back in New York. Milo has come to visit Morbius. This is where Milo loses me. He comes in, he sees Morbius freaking the fuck out and like flying all around the room. And Milo's only takeaway is like, you're strong.
It made me laugh
It
so
worked.
hard because it's like this man is absolutely in pain, and he looks at him and he's like, wait a minute, you're walking without your cane.
I'll have what he's having.
I want. And he's like, no, this is a curse. And he's like, fuck off. I hear nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it leads to our earlier question of like, has he never had like a relationship or anything? Like, it's been that bad where he's like, "Oh, you're a fucking monster. That's better than my life." So
Damn.
and for some reason, off camera, we never see it. He takes the serum or whatever. Milo does, and then
I do feel like they did some very quick work of like, we don't even see, there's no in between Milo not being a villain and being a villain. Like there's no, I guess the crutch thing, him hitting the kid with the crutch is like maybe a little foreshadowing, but to your point,
It's not
that's
enough.
not a bad thing. Like these kids beat the shit out of him.
They
What
were
is
bad
the
kids.
trajectory of like turning into a villain? How did you get here?
And also Morbius is a villain. Like I really cannot stand that this whole movie he's trying to cover up the murders he committed in international waters. And
it's just 7 or 8 mercenaries, okay? It's fine.
And what about Morbius makes him more able to handle the vampirism than Milo? Like his whole thing is like, I can handle it, you can't.
But he even admits he can't control it.
So somewhere at some point, Milo takes a serum, and then we get I would say the scariest scene in the movie is with this nurse with the flickering lights.
Yes. Oh God.
Phylicia, you were on shift before this nurse. Can you tell us what was it like that day in the hospital?
It was, well, real quick, I did write a note about the nurse, and I said this nurse wouldn't have been me. Wouldn't have been me. I was there that day, and I had told my supervisor, I said, hey, there's something going on in this hallway. We should probably have maintenance come and take a look at the lights.
Mm-hmm.
And no one listened to me. And don't you know, those lights are healthcare system, okay?
Talk about it.
Today, those lights are still messed up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a hard story to hear.
It is, yeah, there has been no changes. But I don't work there anymore after that incident because I said, not going to catch me in that hallway.
No.
During the night, yeah.
I noticed that, so when Morpheus got the serum, Martine had to inject it into his spine. And it was like very much a 2-person job.
Yeah.
But apparently the same was not true for Milo. Milo was able to just stick that needle right up in his spine by himself.
Yeah. And ultimately, I have to say, yes. That is weird. That is very weird. Because Milo famously has no friends. Except for Morbius.
None. At first, I thought the doctor was going to help him.
Yeah.
No, come to find out, the doctor doesn't even really like him. He likes Morbius more.
Yeah,
the scene between
between Milo and
the doctor and Milo, it was so good. I was like, now this is a movie. I want to see what this is.
That's what happens when you get 2 great television actors there, because that's Jared Harris, who was on Mad Men and Chernobyl, which I never watched, but he was on Chernobyl. And Matt Smith was on Doctor Who and The Crown.
And they're
British
absolutely
actors,
amazing. Yeah.
British actors saved this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not the one to say that out loud most of the time, you know, but today, they did.
My favorite thing is Morbius sees that this nurse has been killed at the hospital. He assumes he did it, so he decides to flee like a real
Classic hero's move.
Oh my God, a murder I committed. I better run from the law.
I better put up my hood. The hoodie's coming up.
Get on this bus.
This fucking hoodie.
The hood.
What does he think he's doing?
I think he thinks this is like, you know, his low budget, like he didn't get the superhero suit. I mean, we're talking about whether or not he's a superhero. They didn't give him a suit.
It's not.
So this Batman is just like putting the hood up and he's like, I'm out.
Good God. And then he's instantly caught by Tyrese, R&B legend Tyrese Gibson, catches him. We get in this interrogation room, this fucked up Hulk line of like, I'm hungry. You won't want to see me when I'm hungry.
Yes.
I wrote that
down.
I did as well.
That was wild. Like I thought at that moment that the movie was trolling me. I was like, what? You've lifted this from another property
and made it dumber.
You don't want to see me hungry.
I mean, it's a great
and look for the woman in jeans were my 2 favorite lines.
Honestly, great taglines for like other things. Like you wouldn't want to see me when I'm hungry is great for like Taco Bell, and like
100%.
Look for the woman in jeans if you're like an ad for the Gap or something.
Where's the woman in jeans?
Yeah,
they had such good lines. I did like the prison officer too, being like, "Hey, Your Highness, your time's up."
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, delicious.
The script crackles.
There was one very lazy thing that I picked up on where, you know, the police, the Tyrese and company and his partner are coming across these dead bodies. And like, basically they look at the dead body and several times they said, well, the body looks like it's been drained of all its blood. How do you know that by looking at it?
It's very confusing in this universe what the world knows about vampires and what it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because remember when the newscaster is just like, vampires on the loose, stay in after sundown. How do you know?
Yeah. Yes, specifically stay in after sundown.
Yeah. Which I don't even think sun affects these vampires. They can do it any time of day.
this is my confusion about like, is this a Batman? Is this a vampire? Like, what are the rules for the condition?
Apparently, the only people who know are the people who are affected by it. Because also, there's no training montage for Morbius. He can just fight and do this shit. Which leads us to, so Milo, in my favorite kind of villain role, pretends to be the lawyer and just reveals himself like, hello, it's me, Milo. I'm now a vampire. And then they go into this like, I think this is where they have the subway fight.
Yeah.
Because Morbius is, I guess this is the only thing heroic about Morbius is he realizes Milo is his responsibility to put down.
To put down.
Yeah. But
I thought you were going to say he realized his responsibility was to take the train.
He's like, I need to lower my carbon footprint.
My carbon footprint is too high, y'all. I swam back from international waters. I am trying to reduce my carbon emissions.
I know. He swims, he takes the train, he flies, you know.
Hero's moves.
Although he is emitting a lot of fumes when he flies.
Purple and orange fumes.
What was that?
What is the rule?
Well, the orange made sense when he was in the orange prison suit.
Right.
Yes.
But then it became purple and then it made less sense. Like, why is it purple?
They just wanted it to be pretty. Yeah, they were like, and everyone will like looking at this.
We may not have a plot, but we have an aesthetic. And
the effects in this movie.
Talk about, did you like them?
Made for a truly a great student film effort. Like if I had somebody, Illinois State University, they showed me this graphics work. I'm like, this is incredible. You should keep working at this.
Keep. Don't stop. Keep going.
No matter how many people tell you to stop, you keep going.
Keep going. My favorite example of that was in the subway fight where they're like going down the escalator and it stops for a slow-mo, but it doesn't. It's just kind of like the camera just turns. They don't punch. Like, I'm like, why was that a slow-mo? And they never do it again. So after this fight, he learns how to fly. He rides the waves of the subway train, which then that made sense. But then he later can just fly whenever he wants to.
Wouldn't he be like behind the train, or do I just not know science?
Yeah, it also seems strange to me that he was in front of the train.
Yes. Perhaps is there like a wind tunnel effect in the train when there's a train going?
I mean, the science in this movie is locked. Very tight scientific research, so I don't want to contradict anything that they're saying.
Yeah,
correct.
And
same.
Especially in a movie where every character is a scientist, you want to make sure it's airtight.
Okay.
But here's where it gets weird, or not weird, but really bad. Morbius does nothing. Like, he knows Milo is a threat, and he does nothing to protect his people, or like he just keeps leaving Milo alone. But I'm like, he's after you.
Well, it's like he still is acting like, and he's being hunted for murder, but it's like he's still kind of looking out for number one. Like, I don't want to go to jail, but also I've got this friend out in the world that's doing the same thing and has worse intentions than me.
Yes. Oh, and then I just looked at my notes. There's the scene where he goes to the lab and remember when he breaks that man's hand?
Yes.
And he's
like 4 to 6 weeks in ibuprofen. It'll be.
I was like, do you want a bandage at all, or just like a broken hand, some ibuprofen, you're fine?
And I mean, that sound design, like the breaking of the hand, it felt like 30 or 40 bones.
Yeah, when our hero broke the bones in an innocent victim's hand. Yeah, because he wouldn't immediately give up his lab that he was working in.
Also, is like counterfeit currency lab, which obviously directly correlates to what Morbius is doing. All the same supplies would be there for sure.
Absolutely.
Everything Morbius needs is in this counterfeit money laundering facility.
Yeah, well, scientifically they use the same things, the same products and everything.
Yeah, blood. You really want to put blood in your counterfeit money. That's how you can really pass it off as real. Blood money. Okay. He can fly from this murder.
Have we gotten to the scene where Milo does his dance yet?
I was just going to ask how that pushed the story forward for both of you.
Well, Katie, you were actually the choreographer on set. So can you walk us through working with Matt Smith for this scene?
Yeah, so the director had a really clear vision. He was like, how can you choreograph the douchiest dance of all time? And I pulled out all of my douchey moves. I pulled out my comb through the hair, throw the comb away, won't ever need it again, as you said. Just an incredible scene. Stand alone. Don't need the context.
I think I looked up this scene on YouTube after I watched it the first time. Because I was like, Matt Smith is cool. I'm sorry. He's cool. And this is the only time he's cool. But it is very douchey. And correct, it does not do anything for the plot. But also, where we're at in this movie.
We needed it. We
deserved it.
We needed it. We had put in 45 minutes. We needed a little treat.
Oh, yeah. Although it is so dumb because basically he's just combing his hair. It's like another night to kill. Like his plan is just to keep eating people and looking gorgeous for the rest of his
very
life.
much fuckboy energy. Like I'm going out to ravage people, but I really mean ravage.
Yeah, but I mean it.
Ravage in the worst sense. Yeah.
Okay, broke his hand. I have a note. The cops did nothing. I feel like the FBI cops did absolutely nothing this entire movie.
Yeah. Well, again, he's a counterfeiter. So like, why do they care? You know, they only care when the good people are hurt.
Oh yeah.
Or killed.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay. So the Wall Street boys are chomped by Milo. This leads to the news announcing vampires are on the loose in New York. So just stay in. And then Phylicia, I think you wanted to talk about, or did we already talk about the scene with Jared Harris and Matt Smith? Anything else to say about that scene where like Milo confronts the doctor of like, I'm not your favorite?
Yeah, just that like their relationship and the betrayal, and they could have really went into why Milo is like who he is. I was like, this is what the real movie is. Everything else, we didn't need besides the dancing scene.
Thank you.
Well, because that scene like actually feels like it's about a human relationship, which like the rest of the movie is not.
Yeah.
No, the rest of the movie is about bats.
Ooh, I did have it written down about the diner scene where Morbius and Martine are sitting, and then she puts the water or the tea in the sun, so he reaches for it, and then she's like shocked that he can like just grab it, and he's like, yeah, not a vampire. And they had a laugh. Or what did he say? Yeah.
Not that kind of vampire.
Not that kind. And then they had a laugh, and then that was it. And I was like, I'm glad we had that.
Yeah.
It was the bite I needed. Yeah, the little, now I understand.
A bite? Well, we needed that to make Martine's death scene important. I will say, when he was flying to her and she was already dying, when the little like echo location of her heartbeat slowing down, that was cool. That was cool. The dance in that for me was it.
Did you all see how she died? What she did? A couple of things. Because she kissed him, and then she like bit her lip in a sexy way and licked her lip in a sexy way, and then died. And I really thought
like a drop of blood.
Yeah. And I was like, it's something I need to work on. So like, if I'm on the top of the building and like my vampire boss is turning me, hopefully I like die sexy so I can come back sexy vampire. Yeah.
Gotta die sexy.
I believe she bites his lip and like takes some of his blood.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
So then she's able to because we get this little shot where she opens her eyes and her eyes are red.
Yeah.
Say no more about it. Because that's all we get.
I appreciated our like classic trope scene of the two falling through the air, like mid-fight. Like it felt a little bit like ChatGPT was like, write a Marvel movie. Like, what do we need? What are the elements?
And of course, with any Marvel movie, we have to end with a big fight between hero and villain. And you know, they're fighting, it's not going well. And who does Morbius call for backup? Bats. I thought we were all going to say it together. Bats.
I didn't know. I was like...
Okay.
At this point, I was like, it's almost done. I felt relief.
Yes. It was like 17 minutes before it was ending. I was thinking probably 10 minutes of credits. but I was really tired at this point. I was like, should I just watch the last 7 minutes in the morning? Like, and I was watching it with my husband and he was like, no, just finish it. Just finish it. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, just gonna fucking focus, watch the rest of this.
Stronger than me. I watched the last 45 minutes this morning. I did turn it off. But yeah, and I think what happens, and then Matt Smith again coming through with some great acting for his death scene of like that was so unnecessarily hard to watch, where he like kind of reverts back to his original Lucian self as a child. It's like, you can't kill me. It's like, don't do this. Where's this one coming from?
I know.
Brutal. And then Morbius, after basically being responsible for everyone he loves dying, flies away to do what? We don't know.
We don't know.
Question for the call. Did we watch the post-credit scenes?
Both of them? That was another thing. I was like, y'all are giving yourself 2 post-credit scenes? That's wild.
As soon as it was done, as soon as he started flying off, so did I. So did I. I said, I'm done.
And that's smart. I feel like for all the press about like post-credit scenes for Marvel movies, we never talk about them on this podcast because I don't want to get into those weeds. We will leave that alone, listeners, because it's time for our favorite segment of This Week and Every Week. It's time for the Fuck, Marry, Kill, Morbius style. On the plate today to be fucked, married, and killed is the titular Morbius, Lucian Milo, however you want to call him. It's Matt Smith, and of course, Dr. Martine Navratilova. I will go first to give my guest time to think. And as I am starting to say now, I just want to put it in my guest's mind, you don't have to do what I say. I'm not saying the right answer. I'm just saying my answers. Although I do think I have the right answer with this one. So I'll say, for my kill, I wonder, who's someone who caused all the problems in the movie? Who's someone, if they had just stayed home, none of this would have happened? I'm going to kill Morbius. I'm going to kill Michael Morbius. I will jam a wooden stake through his heart right at sunrise and fill his mouth with holy water just to cover my bases. I'm going to fuck Martine. Beautiful woman, beautiful braid. I was like, yeah, she's lovely, a lovely woman in jeans who could say no. And then
very rare.
I'm gonna marry Matt Smith. Our ceremony.
Nice house.
Did you see that?
Gorgeous house.
Ladies, the money. Our ceremony will be that dance. We'll do that same dance together at each other as we're putting on our tuxes for the wedding. And
that's sexy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to do about him, biting me, but marriage is about compromise. And
he's got money. They'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Let's go to Phylicia McLeod to give our first time guest time a little bit more time to think. So Phylicia, please show us how it's done. Who are the picks for this fuck, marry, kill?
Okay. I as well am gonna marry Milo because money, and I think if he had a little bit of love,
money and a little bit of love,
he'll learn, or like be like, turn that anger into a hobby, do something good with it. So I'm gonna marry him. A casual vamp. Please don't be mad at me. I'm gonna fuck Morbius because he's gonna lay it down. He's bad, but he's gonna lay it down, and then that's it.
Okay. All right. There's no wrong answers. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. Go. Continue.
And then kill. Like, Martine is already setting herself up for success. Like, she's like, this is the last 2 seconds I have to live. I'm fucking turning. And like, so she's gonna be okay no matter what. So I just thought that was the best.
You want to end it.
I want to end it and keep her braid. Yeah. To wear, not to like keep, just to wear.
You hold the braid up high. It's mine.
The ultimate trophy.
Beautiful. Katie, what are you going to do with Martine's braid?
Okay. I'm going to marry Martine.
Ooh.
You all made a really good case for marrying Milo, aka the money. You almost convinced me to switch. But Martine is a total pushover. She will be there for you. She will support you. We will sit around. We will braid, just one braid, each other's hair, and we'll have a great life together. So I'm going to marry Martine. I'm going to fuck Milo, and I'm going to kill Morbius.
Yeah.
That's yes. Any reason why to fuck Milo or anything you're looking forward to in that?
I feel like it's like one of those, he's just got, it's like the chaotic energy. Like, I feel like good for a one night thing. Like, it's too much chaos for me permanently. Again, the money, kind of sways me, but I think a one time be great. Morbius, so clear for me. Like the moment he sat on that stage and was like, no, thank you to the Nobel Prize.
To the King of Sweden.
To the King of Sweden. What did the King of Sweden ever do to you? Yeah, Morbius has to go.
I love it. Honestly, this is my favorite game to play every week. Thank you very much. Those are our fucks, marries, and kills. And that's Morbius. What's lower than an F? Because that's what I would give this movie. An incomplete is my grade.
An incomplete.
But Katie and Phylicia, thank you so much for doing this podcast. Katie, Nathan, where can we find you online? Any shows coming up?
Thank you. Yeah. If you're in Los Angeles, I am on a house team at the Pack Theater. The team's called Redacted. We have a show this Wednesday, October 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th.
11th. This will be, I think, the week after that. You just had the show.
You just missed our show. But we are the second Wednesday of every month at the Pack Theater, 9:00. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Hiya, like Hiya, Hiya, Katie Lady.
Very funny. Redacted's great. I'll ask you a question offline. Okay. Phylicia, what's up with you? What's going on? How can we stay in touch?
Yes, you can add me on Instagram at laugh_with_fee. Where else? I used to be on Twitter. I still have my Twitter, but I don't go on. Is it still there or X? X is X. People are moving over to Threads. Haven't popped on there because I heard you had to link your Instagram. And I hear one rumor once and believe it.
It's true.
And I don't want to do that. And now, but watch in a week, it will be done. That's where you can find me. What do I have coming up? Towards the end of this month, every Saturday, I'm doing a sketch show called Hot Girls Presents Shit Talk. That's going to be at Second City in the Judy's Beat Lounge on Saturdays. So look out on my Insta for that.
Love that. And to remind people, Katie's in LA, Phylicia's in Chicago. So I feel like based on the numbers, those are mostly where my listener bases are. So make your choice. This is Podcast 616. You can follow us on Instagram at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, our podcasting network that lets me divert into Morbius territory. I wish they would regulate me a little bit. I wish they would say, don't do Morbius, but they didn't. So we did. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast we just did?
Earlier you asked what is worse than an F, and it's a Z, so it's two Fs, a 0. That's what I'll give the movie. But the podcast, I'll give you guys a double A+. Yeah, or A double plus.
Who knows? Maybe Sony will hear this podcast and they'll be like, we got to reboot Morbius. We got to do it again with our thoughts.
These four know what's up.
Let us be in it. Put us in Morbius.
Give me that braid. I know what to do. That's the podcast episode. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week, back on our Blade train, doing Blade Trinity. So keep it spooky. And don't forget that with great power comes even greater responsibility, Morbius style.